The story begins with 11-year-old outcast Louis Sontag returning home after a 4-day school field trip at Dragon's Peak. On the bus home, Louis loses one of his sneakers and crawls the bus in search of it when his school crush Jennifer Yang interviews him for the school news survey. Out of nowhere, Marlon Winters, a school bully, and his neighbor find his shoe and toss it around with their friends. Jennifer catches it in midair and gives it back to Louis. When they arrive at school, everyone's welcomed by their families who eagerly await them, except for Louis, who has to ride his bike home. The school principal notices he's alone and wonders if his father forgot to pick him up. Louis claims his father's busy with work and insists on riding his bike home even though the wheels are already bent. The ice cream man calls his bike trash, but Louis claims he'll get a new one for his birthday. When he finally arrives home, their neighbor, the Winters, criticize the state of their home and lawn and urge them to work on it. When he enters the house, he finds his father, Armin Sontag, a self-acclaimed ufologist, asleep on the couch and in such a mess. He tries to sneak to his room to avoid waking his father, but he accidentally trips some boxes. With his father already up and working, Louis decides to clean up the house and bake a cake for his birthday tomorrow. Louis brought his father dinner, who incessantly keeps looking at the sky with his telescope for signs of aliens. He claims to have encountered aliens when he was still 7. He describes it as vile to behold and a genuinely frightening scene. He explains that it tried to abduct him, but he managed to escape. He says no one believes him, but he's confident that he'll find definitive proof that aliens exist someday. The next day, it was Louis's 12th birthday. He prepares the cake on the table and is enthusiastic when his father claims he has a surprise for him. When he thought it was his birthday gift, it turns out that his father recorded ambient noises, which could prove that there are unidentified flying objects in the solar system. While Louis wonders why his father couldn't get a regular job like other people's dads, his father gets distracted when he catches a glimpse of 2 aliens by their kitchen window. He immediately grabs his homemade freezer gun to find definitive proof. When he loses sight of them, he tells everyone to hide their children and lock their houses. When the neighbors confront him, he realizes that the aliens he saw were the Hendersons' kids playing a prank on him. After losing his wife and Louis's mother, the neighbors start questioning his parenting skills. At school, Louis brings a piece of the cake he baked to give to Jennifer when Marlon and his boys show up to bully him. When Marlon eats the cake he brought for Jennifer, Louis stands up to him, but ends up being dumped in the trash can by the bullies. After embarrassing himself in front of Jennifer, the principal shows up with Miss Dickendecker, the headmistress of Sunny Days Home for Neglected Children. After receiving a complaint from their neighbors, the principal thought that Louis would be a great fit with them. When Louis explained that everything was great at home, Miss Dickendecker pulled out a device measuring a child's loneliness with tears. The principal informs him to bring his father to his office at 3 p.m. to discuss this matter. Meanwhile, in outer space, the Cosmic Caravan Cruise Lines is a prestigious cruise ship for aliens. Their tour has taken them to Earth, which they deemed a primitive planet unlike their own. Aliens Mog, Nob, and Wabo are enticed by a massage mat advertisement when they're picking up television signals from Earth. With only limited stocks left, Mog, Nab, and Wabo decide to visit Earth to buy a Nubby Dubby, a massage mat. Louis returns home to inform his father about the important meeting with the principal when he witnesses 3 alien crash landings near their home. Initially, he thought they were scary as described in his father's stories, but they were quite friendly. He even suggested hiding their spaceship in a barn to avoid suspicion. When the aliens witness the Winters leave their home, they break into the house to check the TV for the Nubby Dubby advertisement. Louis wakes up his father after having a close encounter with the aliens, but when he realizes that his father intends to attack should he find one, Louis decides to keep it a secret. Louis helps the aliens order the Nubby Dubby when the cleaning lady Valentina suddenly shows up. Louis, Mog, and Nob hid in the bathroom. It turns out that the aliens can transform into the person they eat the hair from. When they were almost caught by the cleaning lady, Mog and Nob transformed into Mr. and Mrs. Winters. The cleaning lady collapses from shock when she finds out they are aliens. Louis thought he could use this to his advantage and have the aliens pretend to be his father so he would not be sent away. Everything went well until the principal and Miss Dickendecker asked to see Louis's room. With Marlon locked up in his room, Louis is forced to show Marlon's sister's room and pretend it was his. He convinces both of them by explaining that his father had planned to build him his own room. After the principal and Miss Dickendecker left, Lewis and the aliens thought it went well when Lewis's father showed up, claiming that aliens have landed and are about to attack Earth. They later realized that the father Lewis introduced them was a fake. Realizing that they're busted, Lewis and the aliens run away, chasing towards the flood channel, and run into Jennifer and Patty, running a story about how they have raised the prices on instant hot chocolate packets. When Lewis runs away clearly in a rush and is being chased by the principal, she finds it suspicious and follows them around. Lewis hides in a convenience store when Jennifer and Patty catch up to him and ask him why the principal is chasing him. Unable to answer her straight face, the alien pulls up while hanging on the ceiling and run away as the principal and Miss Dickendecker get close. They tried to hide in a salon where they switched faces. When they found some hair on the floor, they managed to distract them long enough to lose them in the crowd. Realizing there's no way around the principal and Miss Dickendecker, Lewis suggests going with the aliens back to their ship. When they tried to fly their ship, it turned out to be broken. Mog tried to fix their ship, but he took it apart instead. Lewis suggests going through his father's things that may get them to send a message back to their ship to come and get them. Jennifer and Patty followed Lewis and the others and discovered they were aliens. Enthusiastic about getting the biggest scoop, she later finds that Patty failed to capture it. Lewis leads the aliens back to his house where Mog manages to contact the ship and request an extraction. When the alien mothership waiting at the extraction point, Lewis packs his things and follows the alien back to their ship. They almost get caught by Lewis's father, who comes home early when Valentina, the next door cleaning lady, knocks on his door and asks for help, claiming that the Winters are aliens. Lewis and the aliens decide to take the Winters' car, but when they struggle to drive it, they transform back into Mr. and Mrs. Winters to ask Marlin to drive them to Dragon's Peak. The real Winters return home to press conference, which Armin called after mistaking the Winters as aliens based on what Valentina told him. When Mr. Winters did not revert to an alien even after punching him in the stomach, the press thought it was another false alarm. When their neighbor informs them that he saw Lewis with the Winters, Armin suspects it must be the real aliens. He adds that Marlin drove them and heard them discussing going to Dragon's Peak. They later hijack a delivery truck, trying to catch up to Lewis, Marlin, and the aliens. Miss Dickendecker and the others catch up to Lewis and the gang, who try to run them over when the delivery truck crashes on a field as the oncoming truck almost crashes into them. Lewis comes clean with Marlin and explains that they are not actually his parents, but aliens who transformed into them. When Marlin doesn't believe him, Jennifer speaks up and appears to have stowed away in the back of the car. Marlin is shocked to discover that they are aliens after they reverted to their original forms. Reaching Dragon's Peak, the aliens urge Lewis to hurry to the mountain's highest point so their alien ship could beam them up. With the ship in position, Lewis and the others rush towards the extraction point with their parents not far behind. Armin catches up to Lewis and the aliens and tells him to get away from them, to which Lewis claims that the aliens are his friends. His father tells him that he can't leave with them, to which Lewis responds by asking why he would care, as his father's usually too busy with work that he doesn't even have time with Lewis anymore. He even claims that his father forgot that it was his birthday. Lewis fears they will take him to the home, so Lewis explains that he has no choice. Armin claims that they can't take him away as he loves him, and that he is all that he has left. While everyone's touched by Armin and Lewis reconnecting as father and son, Miss Dickendecker decides to take matters into her own hands, and takes the freezer gun away from Lewis's father. She then places Lewis at gunpoint, forcing him to go with her. Out of nowhere, the ice cream man shows up with a laser gun pointed at Mrs. Dickendecker, who claims to be Agent Stu of the Intergalactic Hero Squad. He explains that he's been following her throughout the galaxy for some time now and keeping an eye on her. He claims that Miss Dickendecker works for a crime lord on planet Tauntaun and sells human children's tears, which are considered priceless in her world as they can cure baldness. While Agent Stu describes Miss Dickendecker as an evil alien, she reverts to her original form, a huge dinosaur spider hybrid. Armin realized that he saw Miss Dickendecker as an alien when he was a kid. Louis shot her with the freeze gun when it was about to attack his father. But Miss Dickendecker tried to attack him that he fell on the cliff. Everyone tried to put down Miss Dickendecker, but she was too strong for them and quickly broke free. She chased Louis, to which the aliens called out to him in the bush. Louis then runs away from Miss Dickendecker, who concerns him when he suddenly slips through the cracks in the wall, revealing that it wasn't Louis, but an alien who took his form. The other aliens lure Miss Dickendecker to where the real Louis waits with the freeze gun and shoots her point blank. With Miss Dickendecker frozen, Armin embraces his son while the Winters hug Marlin. Agent Stu claims he will store her in the cooling house for when he can bring her before the Intergalactic Court to be tried for his actions. He explains that back on planet Tauntaun, a lonely child's tears are precious, hence why Miss Dickendecker targeted him. Louis claims he's no longer alone as he has his father and his friends to help him. After giving the aliens the nubby-dubby, they have been longing for Louis, explaining that he will not be going with them as his home is back here on Earth with his father and friends. After Mog, Nab, and Wabo are beamed back to their ship, Patty reveals to Jennifer that she's captured the footage during their fight, giving Jennifer the scoop of the century. The next day, his father buys him a new bike and spends quality time with Louis together. As the credits roll, Louis and his father finally fix their house to make it presentable or decent, even while his friends help them. Armin is finally trying to spend time with their neighbors. Armin has republished his book. Given the close encounter experience, Louis grows closer to Jennifer, looking at the sky through his telescope. Meanwhile, aliens Mog, Nab, and Wabo enjoy the nubby-dubby on their ship. The end. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos, and please make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you next time.